young men to rebuild Western civilization, must be unafraid of pain, blisters, intellectual rigor, and a lifetime of long shifts with swords and shovels, digging ditches, repelling invaders, and reading stacks of books taller than their fathers. Must be impervious to manipulative women of all sorts, giggling virgins, cyber skanks, and even full cauldrons of Karens or hand-wringing clergy, but always seeking to hear and heed the words of Lady Wisdom. Immune to the leadership of hypocrites and LARPing online masculinitods, unaffected by abusive authorities, petty professors, and all brokers of official respectability. Willing to hoist the Jolly Roger and Johnny Cash's favorite finger whenever faced with idolatry. Long-suffering joy and determination required. Must be willing to dwell among the tombs and graves of the long dead, seeking truths that cannot die. Exhaustion guaranteed. Conflict guaranteed. Mortality guaranteed. New St. Andrews College. Liberal arts for the undaunted.
Wow. Wow.
Why can't we be friends? I've seen you around for a long, long time. Yeah. I remembered you when you drank my wine. Why can't we be friends? Why can't we?
Incredible. AI is incredible. Apparently, according to this AI video, they used to be friends, and then, deep political divides separates even the best of friends. According to this video, Peter Doocy. I don't know if you guys have followed him. He's been one of Fox's White House correspondents and is frequently in press conferences with what's her name, Jean Pierre. Anyways. Biden and Kamala apparently had a luncheon this last week, and here's Peter's question to Kareem.
We know that today, a week after the election, President Biden and Vice President Harris had a private lunch. How awkward was that?
I don't even understand. Why would it be awkward?
Because
the
president got squeezed out for her, and then she kept him at arm's length, and then she lost, and now she's back.
Why would you characterize it as awkward? They have regular lunches. They meet and talk regularly. Why would you call it awkward?
Weirdness about the way that things have unfolded.
Did you see them? Did you see them together yesterday as well, when they honored our veterans and were together during the day, making sure that we didn't forget the brave men and women that fought for this country? Did you see them together yesterday? Did you see the show of force together? This is. I'm not even going to take the premise of the question. What I will say is, the president and the vice president had lunch today. They've had lunch many times. They have. They communicate with each other regularly. They had an opportunity to discuss the last 70 days or so of this administration, how important it is to get things done for the American people. And that's their focus. That is genuinely their focus. Guys, Pat.
One of the reasons why you know... Go ahead and stop that clip. One of the reasons why you know that clip is, or that question was actually a legitimate question, is because how long it took her to answer the question. She went on and on about it. And if it was a question not to, if it's a joke question, a throwaway question, she wouldn't have even really acknowledged it. But that something's going on behind the scenes. How could it not? How could it not? We yesterday on the show, we announced that our friend Pete Hegseth got selected by Trump to be Secretary of Defense. And there's so much going on. Toby, come on in. We're live right now. We're just going. So just come on in. And actually that Pete's kind of gotten in trouble on two levels. For one, there's been a lot of claims that he doesn't have the qualifications, the military qualifications, really to be Secretary of Defense. And the other area, more in our circles, that he's gotten in trouble with is, Pete had a past life where he was not living like a Christian, and he's on his third marriage, but he's genuinely repented from that. I've had private conversations with him about his past and all that stuff, and after he repented, he made moves to get out of New York and put his family in a good church and a good Christian school. And so there's, but I want to first address the military qualifications of Pete Hegseth. He's been a decorated officer. In fact, he had two Bronze Stars, I think. And let me look here in my notes. Yeah, he earned 2 Bronze Stars and Combat Infantry Badge for his service. Formerly the CEO also of a Concerned Veterans for America group. I think that's where I originally first met Pete a long time ago. He probably doesn't remember me from meeting me there. He advocated for veteran and national security reforms, and today he actually, is a current Fox News correspondent on Fox and Friends and so forth. Now, the current there's been this bureaucracy of military that has grown, and I've had multiple friends in the military say that people kind of rise in ranks because they become yes men to the bureaucracy. And I think that's what happened with the current Secretary of Defense. You see, go ahead and jump to this picture, but especially during COVID, I mean, look at our Secretary of Military Defense during COVID, and look what he was wearing and what he was, addressing like. I mean, he wore this mask and a clear protector. And there's multiple other pictures of him doing similar things during COVID and all this stuff. If that's not a yes man in a bureaucracy, then what is one?
Right.
And so there's another one swearing in people with masks, standing 6 feet apart, whatever you thinking masks work and all that stuff.
Right.
And so I would first say to this, is Pete qualified? Yeah, Pete's way more qualified than this.
Right.
Even though this guy's got a silver star, so he's got a whatever you call it, bigger star than Pete or whatever. I think he has served maybe one more tour than Pete did, something like that. But this version versus Pete, here's Pete talking about how he thinks women shouldn't be in combat in the military. Roll that clip.
I'm straight up just saying we should not have women in combat roles. It hasn't made us more effective, hasn't made us more lethal, has made fighting more complicated. We've all served with women, and they're great. Mm-hmm. Our institutions don't have to incentivize that in places where not traditionally, over human history, men in those positions are more capable.
Wikipedia says he has 2 Bronze Stars.
Yeah.
2 Army Commendation Medals, National Defense Service Medal, Global War on Terrorism Service Medal, Expert Infantry Badge, Combat Infantry Badge. He served in the Iraq War and the war in Afghanistan.
Yep. So he's got some experience there. But if you're going to compare Pete to this guy, then every day.
This is an upgrade.
Way upgrade.
Super upgrade.
And then he's also talking about, how much has Congress this last couple of years, we covered it, where they've talked about possibly requiring women
to be
drafted in the draft.
Right.
And here's Pete saying, no.
Let's not bring them into combat.
Bad idea.
Yeah.
And so I think, what a blessing to have this potentially coming down in the office.
He also is did you catch one of those videos with him talking about the DEI stuff?
Yeah, we got that. I think we got that here too. Go ahead and roll that clip too, the DEI Pete Hegseth clip.
How would they correct it?
Well, first of all, you got to fire, you got to fire the chairman of Joint Chiefs, and you got to fire this. Obviously, you're going to bring in a new Secretary of Defense, but any general that was involved, general, admiral, whatever that was involved in any of the DEI woke
Garbage.
It's got to go.
Garbage.
Either you're in for war fighting, and that's it. That's the only litmus test we care about. You got to get DEI and CRT out of military academies, so you're not training young officers to be baptized in this type of thinking. Yeah. And then, whatever the standards, whatever the combat standards were, say, in, I don't know, 1995. Let's just make those the standards. And as far as recruiting, to hire the guy that, did Top Gun Maverick and create some real ads that motivate people to want to serve. There's lots of other ways in which you could identify who gets promoted and what, but there's an ethos change. I mean, there's a reason people don't want to serve, because they don't trust that their senior leaders are going to have their best interest in mind in combat. I know there were mistakes made on our tours all over the place, but I at least, for the most part, had a sense that my senior leaders were committed to the completion of the mission for the right reasons. And maybe there were strategic differences and all that other stuff, and it wasn't always perfect, but that trust is broken, and you have to reestablish that trust by putting in no-nonsense warfighters in those positions who aren't going to cater to the socially correct garbage.
And don't forget what's going on in the military.
That's good.
Yeah, that was really good. And don't forget, we were doing research earlier with Banked and my team, and you remember the military video? It was a recruitment video with a pregnant woman in the military.
I've tried to suppress
They pulled that and deep sixed it.
Try to suppress that memory.
It's gone off the internet.
Oh yeah,
that's how bad it was.
That's how bad it was.
So, but I wanted to remind you guys of all the DEI stuff going on in the military. So go ahead and roll the recruiting clip that we did find that they did not deep six.
Women have been making their mark in history for centuries, especially in the military.
From the Revolutionary War to today, countless women have served and sacrificed for our great nation.
Women have long been instrumental in the United States Army.
Their stories and the larger human story
expand our understanding and strengthen our connections.
This month, we celebrate these stories and recognize the contributions of women, past and present.
But especially the everyday women warriors that work selflessly to get the job done.
These women continue to sustain victory, win in every endeavor, and make their mark in history.
That needs to end.
Right.
I hope Pete ends that. Doug, did you read Doug's blog post today?
I think I read a lot of it.
Some of it.
I don't know if I finished the whole thing, but yeah, I read it.
But basically, he was driving at how Christians have bought into this, like
the lies.
This lie of like maybe a watered down feminism.
Yeah, right.
And how they bought into it in the church. I mean, I got conservative friends who have their daughters in the military.
Right.
And I think there's this lie and this deception, and that Christians have bought into it,
right,
and have legitimized kind of some of the
soft feminism.
Yeah, soft feminism in the church.
Yeah.
And so, this doesn't really bother, I would say probably doesn't really bother a lot of Christians either, this ad right here.
Right.
And so
but I mean, it's like, this is an abomination.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Like this is hatred of women.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're taking what God made to give life.
Women can give life.
And to adorn life and make life fruitful.
Yeah.
And you are degrading that calling
and putting them in a position of taking life
by trying to make have there been support roles for women in military for ages? Of course there have been support roles.
Yeah. I mean, and Pete Hegseth kind of alluded that a little bit.
A lot of there are medical things now. I bet like outside of combat, outside of like the actual like battlefield, there's we should not be thinking this way. We should not be thinking like we want. It's degrading our daughters. It's not glorifying them.
Right.
And Christians need to like know that. And the fact that you get this soft feminism. We're like maybe not in combat, but but I want my daughter could be in the army if she wants to be. And like well no, like I mean what are you aiming at?
Yeah.
What are you aiming at? Are you aiming at the glory of womanhood, of being feminine, of being a life giver, or are you setting her up to think that like somehow she's going to compete with men?
Right.
Like that. I mean, it's striking. Like Trump's like one of his top 20 or 25 priorities is to get the women out of men out of women's sports.
Yeah, we need to get the women out of men's sports. Or military.
But it's like it's I understand the I think there's the sort of visceral reaction to the dude in the women's swimsuit.
Yeah,
kind of thing, or the dude clocking a woman in UFC or something like that. It's and it's rightly so, because a woman is the weaker vessel to be protected by men. And so it's right for that to be this visceral reaction. Everybody says, stop that. Get the men out of our locker rooms. Get the women, get the men out of our women's sports. I get that, and that's good, but we need to push that and blow on that little coal and say, let that blow into full flame, because that it started earlier than that. We've been confusing the glory of our sexes, the glory of our callings as men and women for a lot longer than that, and we need to get in order to really love and honor those women, let's get them also out of these places where men are called.
That's right.
To deal out death and violence, and stop doing that to them as well.
And I'd say one of the other temptations that pops up in this argument, especially with among Christians, is we want to go to the pragmatic argument. Oh, well, men are just stronger. They should go in the military. You want your best football players on the football field, right? And so so the argument's like this pragmatic, well, men are just stronger kind of argument. When, as you pointed out, I think we want, which is, I'm fine with that argument. It's a good argument, but I want to hang my hat on the creational argument: who God made us to be. Who did God make man to be? Who did God make women to be? That's where we want to kind of ground our argument in this, right? Because you get caught up in the macho argument, which is there's legitimate,
right? Well, and I don't mind it. I mean, nature speaks. Yeah, nature speaks loudly, and as Pete was saying in the video, we want this to be about war fighting. About accomplishing the mission, and women have many skills. And those skills can be used gloriously in many settings, but in combat, that's not what it's for. And to your point about and at the very bottom of all this is God says, that's right, a woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man.
Warrior clothing.
Neither shall a man put on a woman's garment. For all that do so are an abomination to the Lord thy God.
And that's Deuteronomy 22:5. And the Hebrew word is actually warrior clothing. There.
Yeah.
Not just men's clothing, warrior clothing.
Yeah.
So it doesn't apply to jeans. Let's just put it that way.
No. But it's those. It can also mean tools or weapons. Those things that are for a man. And a man's glory, a woman shouldn't put those things on.
That's right. You want to read this ad before we go to the next?
Sure, I'll do that. Patriot Mobile is now offering the U.S. phone, the Up phone. That doesn't say U.S.
Yeah.
Offering the Up phone, a cutting-edge addition to their product lineup. The Up phone is a privacy-first, secure smartphone designed by cybersecurity professionals for everyday use. It's powered by Liberty OS, I don't know if that's spelled correctly. Anyways, an exclusive operating system built on the Android open source project. This provides a familiar user experience similar to Android phones, but sets itself apart by being free from Google Mobile Services. Free from Google Mobile Services, GMS, and the surveillance that comes with it. You want to be surveillanced by Google? Then get yourself an Up phone. This revolutionary device is perfect for customers seeking a system that avoids big tech components to track, monitor, and monetize their data. The Up phone offers robust protection from spying and intrusion while maintaining the intuitive user experience that users expect. Head to patriotmobile.com/CrossPolitic and use the code CrossPolitic to get started. Should I read the next one too?
There's another ad. Is he supposed to read them back to back?
I should do another one. Bree says do two. Do him to do the second one. Today's culture shifts like sand, but New St. Andrews College is established on Christ, the immovable rock. The college is a premier institution that forges evangelical leaders who don't fear or hate the world. Guided by God's word, equipped with the genius of classical liberal arts and God-honoring wisdom, with a faculty dedicated to academic rigor and to God's kingdom, New St. Andrews College offers an education that frees people. Logic and language, hard work and joyful courage, old books and godly professors. New St. Andrews College provides time-tested resources that can equip your student for any vocation. To find out more, visit nsa.edu. That's nsa.edu. Did you guys see the video?
I have it right here. I have it. Play the Pete Hegseth NSA video.
You're ready for this.
Yeah.
Even Pete Hegseth, he
encourages people to go to NSA.
if your kids got accepted to Harvard, would you be encouraging your kids to go to Harvard? What would you do?
Absolutely not.
Really?
Absolutely not. I've got a list. It's about 5 schools long of schools that I, as a father, would be willing to spend my own money if they would like to attend.
Are you comfortable sharing those?
Because a few of them. Liberty University, College of the Ozarks. It's down in Missouri. I love New St. Andrews College. It's in Idaho. That's a few of them. A few more.
Yeah.
I've got it on my iPhone. Everywhere I go on different events, people say, "Well, what about this school? Have you looked?"
University of Florida, maybe?
Nope.
Really?
University of Tennessee? Nope.
Wow. New St. Andrews is in.
What a strong endorsement.
Pete Hegseth's top
That's
3.
so funny.
Top 3 colleges he'd pay for. If you haven't liked and shared this show yet, would you do it?
Yeah.
That's one of the ways you can support us and support NSA, support Pete Hegseth. I mean, it's all wound up together. It's all wound up together. Just like and share.
It's funny.
Tag a few of your friends.
So a little awkward transition because we're talking about ladies not being in the military and everything. Well, Tulsi Gabbard got selected to be Trump's director of NIA, National Intelligence Agency.
Oh,
and
Intelligence Agency.
Isn't that the agency that Edward Snowden went after and blew some lid on it?
I don't know.
I think so.
How is the National Intelligence Agency connected to like the CIA and the FBI?
That's a great question. Why they're all there? I don't know.
It seems like that's like another.
I should have reconfirmed. I used to know a lot more about the NIA. I think they're the agency.
And there's the National
that
Security
started gobbling.
NSA. What's NSA? National Security Agency.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's another one. All these 3-letter bureaucracies.
Yeah,
Bank looked it up. Look it up. I don't know. What are these?
But I think maybe it's the NSA or the NIA, but they were gobbling up all our cell phone recordings and they're recording all our cell phone and all that stuff. I can't remember. But she's the national director of the NI, National Intelligence Agency, NIA. But you remember what happened to her. So she was running against Kamala Harris, and then she had this interview, I think, with Laura Ingraham, and said, "Oh, Kamala's bad news for us. Bad news."
Laura who?
Laura Ingraham. Ingram, is that how? But she's got an A in between. I was always Laura Ingraham. All right, Ingram. And here's her kind of telling.
Shouldn't have told him.
Telling that story.
I just wanted to keep saying that.
Roll the clip.
Most recently, I can point to my own experience of this, of how the Harris-Biden administration have added me to a secret domestic terror watch list the very day after Kamala Harris was endorsed by Joe Biden. And I was on TV and warning the American people about what I saw as the dangers of a Kamala Harris presidency, taking action that was clearly political retaliation. They've done this to a lot of different people, which points to how dangerous it is to have people in power so willing to abuse that power to go after political opponents.
Okay, I'm not.
So remember, Kamala endorses Biden. Why did Kamala have to endorse Biden? Because Tulsi Gabbard made her look like a fool on the debate stage, and that ended her presidential candidacy against Biden, 4 years ago. And so Kamala, after that, there's this program by TSA, not NI, not National Intelligence, but by TSA, called, I think, Silence in the Skies, something, I think. Quiet in the Skies? Quiet Skies. Where dedicated people, or people were dedicated to following Tulsi Gabbard around in her travels. That's what happened to her. She found that out later, and this is her talking about it and everything.
Wow.
But that was after she basically ended and ruined Kamala's presidential chances.
This says that she's been appointed to the Director of National Intelligence.
Yes, Director of National Intelligence, NI, which is an agency, NIA, Director of National Intelligence.
So this is a senior cabinet level United States government official. It was required by the Intelligence Reform and Terrorism Prevention Act, 2004. Like that's done us.
That's a Bush thing. Yeah.
It's the executive head of the United States intelligence community, and directs and oversees the National Intelligence Program. This is gobbledygook. No wonder they're like, and that reports to the National Intelligence Committee, which serves at the. Anyways, the DNI also serves, upon invitation, as the principal advisor to the President of the United States, the National Security Council, and the Homeland Security Council on intelligence matters. The DNI, supported by the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, produces the President's daily briefing.
Wow.
Also known as the PDB.
So she summarizes all the national intelligence agencies' information to Trump.
Yep. Anyways.
Interesting.
So I'm just trying to see if there's like I'm just hoping there might be like a
interesting
a flow chart. I want to see a flow chart.
I wonder if like CIA, NSA.
Where's the flow chart?
Yeah.
Of these 3-letter agencies in Washington D.C.
Yeah. And I wonder if Homeland Security's under that too.
It sounds like it was.
Yeah.
I mean, it mentioned Homeland Security in there.
Interesting.
Anyways,
so there you go. She's gonna be reporting. It sounds like directly to Trump on intelligence agency related issues.
Okay,
I didn't know all those details.
And again, like for Gabbard, who I'm curious where she is now. She
became a Republican now, so she actually officially registered as a Republican. I think like 2 months ago or something.
But she was a Democrat.
Yeah, she was,
and she was.
But she's a pro-life Democrat. I don't know what kind of pro-life.
Oh, I thought she was pro-abortion.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure she's pro-abortion.
She's pro-abortion?
Yeah, or at least she was.
I thought she ran as some sort of pro-life. All right. We didn't fact check that. I'm sorry. Hey guys, I'm watching the YouTube notes right now. If you want to help me fact check that, that'd be great. Did Tulsi run as a pro-life Democrat or not?
I'm not sure. I think she was I think she's still a pro-choice, but she might be moving. Is my question?
Yeah,
so
right.
I'm actually curious if she's moved
because she did go to independent, and then she went independent to Republican.
So. Regardless, though, I guess I would say again, it's sort of like the RFK thing. Like RFK. Make us healthy again and stay away from the oil.
Yeah, right.
Like, RFK, you can't touch the oil.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, stay away from the babies too, RFK.
Yeah. And so I feel like that. Yeah, stay away from the babies. I don't. You're pro-choice. You don't get that, but you can help us. At least on the maybe the vaccines and the whatever all the craziness going on with the vaccine companies and the crony capitalism involved in all that in ag and so on.
Yeah.
But I think.
But for intelligence,
but for Tulsi Gabbard, like if she's gotten the raw end of that, if she's been followed around by security agents,
by TSA, or whatever, by the Quiet Skies program,
the CI, if some 3-letter agency, then I kind of trust her to like are you going to help the American people? I mean, in the same way that I'm excited about Trump going after all this lawfare, because they've been screwing him.
Yeah.
I think it's like I think he's gonna he's at least gonna punch him.
Yeah,
I don't know how much he can.
It's gotta be a strong punch.
How much of a wrecking ball?
Don't forget we've been the FBI's come and sat down with our churches here in town.
Oh yeah,
these agencies are out of control.
Yeah,
and so they got to be checked big time.
Yeah.
All right.
No, they one time Pastor Doug quoted.
H.L. Mencken.
H.L. Mencken.
Yeah.
Who H.L. Mencken is like this, early 20th century journalist, total apostate, but a wit, a witty man.
Yeah.
And he said something like, my suggestion for solving the problem of public education is that we hang all the teachers and burn the schools down. and that was it. That's H.L. Mencken.
And Doug quoted that on his blog.
Yeah, and it was like tongue in cheek kind of thing, and got a visit from the FBI.
Yeah.
Yep. It was a quote. It was a joke.
Yeah.
And the FBI agent's like, he was actually, if I remember right, he was really friendly about it. He was like, I think we figured it was a joke, but like somebody sent him there.
Yeah.
Actually sent him to Doug's office to make sure it was a joke.
Yeah. Someone, Too Legit says he's pretty sure that Tulsi's pro-choice. So you remember, right?
Yes.
Right there. Good clarification.
Just for the record, Pastor Toby's right again.
It's live. It's recorded. Clip that.
Bank, what are you saying?
Toby's right.
She has rejected some of the big crazy ballot proposals in the election.
Okay.
So she's not super right.
Okay, so
she's
maybe,
not fully pro-choice.
So maybe like the extreme, some of the string ballot measures, like the Florida one or something like that. Okay, so she's come out against the extreme ones, but she's still relatively pro-choice.
Oh, so she came out against Amendment 4 in Florida.
That's what Banks.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So she's better than Democrats' pro-choice stuff, basically.
Yeah, right. She's a Democrat light.
I mean, to be for Amendment 4 is great. That's great.
For it?
Be against it. Wow. To be against it. That's good.
Right.
Yeah, it's a positive thing for Tulsi. Way to go.
All right.
Okay, now Trump has selected Matt Gaetz as his AG. Now, this is
I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that. I haven't actually been able to think about that yet.
I'll just show you my cards. I don't trust Matt Gaetz. Okay.
No.
He's one. I mean, like we said yesterday, I don't trust any politician really.
Right.
But particularly, there's the politicians where I'll just say from the jump, I just don't trust you. Matt Gaetz is one of them.
Yeah.
Matt Gaetz also went after Kevin McCarthy. Remember that? Kevin McCarthy was the chair of the House. Matt Gaetz went after him, and that's how we got Mike Johnson.
Right.
Which I don't know if it was an upgrade going from.
Yeah. I don't either.
Yeah. So Matt is a fighter. He is a loyalist, and this is actually why I think Trump made this move.
Yeah. No, he's
because you remember the Attorney General under Trump was William Barr, and Trump and William Barr's relationship, I think, in the beginning was good.
Yeah.
Towards the end, bad.
Yeah. It deteriorated.
It deteriorated, and then who replaced William Barr? Merrick Garland.
Right. Who's been weaponizing.
And you remember under William Barr, there was a special counsel set up. Who headed that special counsel? I forget his name. To research and investigate Trump's supposed Russia collusion. And so William Barr allowed that to happen. Right. So there's definitely Trump he wants an AG who's just straight loyal, because he's been it'd be interesting to talk to. I mean, I don't know all the legal stuff. Did William Barr have to create a special counsel for this, or could he have shut it down? Stuff like that. It definitely seemed that William Barr was either agnostic to it or was allowing it to happen on purpose at some levels. But then Merrick Garland, of course, has gone after Trump on the secret files, or the top secret files. Stuff didn't go after Biden, went after Trump on that.
Right.
And so there's been definitely some compromise and stuff there. But Matt Gaetz, he's actually, he says some good things. So roll this clip.
But perhaps the most important concession that we received during that fight was the establishment of a special group of legislators to analyze the weaponization of this government against our people. Seems like every time I turn around, they're engaged in surveillance or list building or monitoring, and I don't care if it takes every second of our time and every ounce of our energy. We either get this government back on our side, or we defund and get rid of, abolish the FBI, CDC, ATF, DOJ, every last one of them, if they do not come to heel.
Well,
so I think at least he's saying that, the one reason why I don't trust the politicians is because I think they'll say some good things and I know they won't follow through. I mean, that's the history of the last 20 years, 40 years for me,
He's, to his credit though, he has been fighting.
Yeah.
He's been in the U.S. House since 2017, and so he's been known as a fighter. Now I don't know
the special Mueller. Mueller was the special counsel investigator. If you remember that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Too Legit. All over it.
Too Legit is like,
I know, he's all over
personal secretary.
He's killing it. Killing it.
But it would be interesting. Maybe Too Legit's got this too. But we can. What's his what's Matt Gaetz' voting record, or what?
He's pretty him and Marjorie Taylor Greene are pretty on the same page on a lot of stuff. I don't think they do.
It's not really that encouraging.
No, I know. But I'm just saying they vote in this certain way.
I don't even know what that is. I'm being a little.
But also, Marjorie Taylor Greene and Matt Gaetz have had had some public odds with each other too.
Yeah. Okay.
So
I'm just we need a deep dive. We'll send our people on this, but
but the Attorney General right now is the one that's going off all the pro-lifers.
Mostly anything would be an upgrade.
Yeah, weaponizing pro-lifers.
Right.
We got pro-lifers in jail right now because of Merrick Garland.
What would be glorious, and Matt Gaetz he's a little. He's kind of the right kind of Rottweiler.
Yeah.
What we need is for so far too many sort of old school Republicans.
Yeah.
Don't understand. I'll just use Aaron Wren's language. Don't understand negative world.
Yeah.
Don't understand the fact that a lot of public policy has been weaponized against Christians, conservatives, old school Americans, and it would be glorious if the Attorney General would go hard after all of that. I mean, I'm guessing there are a number of corrupt politicians, corrupt institutions that need to be litigated to kingdom come.
Yeah. Litigated and just shut down.
We
can pass the litigation.
Whatever,
Let's just shut them down.
Yeah, whatever. But I think there's also people though that need to serve time, need to pay debts, need to. I mean, he said brought to heel, but I'm like I think there's some crimes that have been committed. Yeah. And I think they should be. That's what I mean by litigated. I mean they have to actually be condemned for their crimes against our Constitution, against our people.
Yeah. Don't forget Merrick Garland. The other thing that just popped in my mind while you were talking was Merrick Garland went after parents who were protesting DEI and all that stuff in the public schools. Yeah, you remember that?
Yeah. They were weren't they labeled like
terrorists?
Terrorists.
Yes.
I mean, it's that kind of thing. Though. Given the kind of stuff, for example, I'd be curious if how many crimes has Merrick Garland committed? In office. Yeah. I think it would be glorious if somebody like Matt Gaetz would be like, I'm coming into office, and day 2,
and I'm coming after you.
Here are the indictments.
Yeah. Here's what you did.
Here's what you did, and we're coming for you, Merrick Garland.
Right.
I mean, it's got to be stuff like that.
I wonder what all the authority, as I kind of think about this, what all the authority does the Attorney General actually have?
The Eternal General?
The Eternal General.
We don't want the Eternal.
Because is that a DOJ top appointment? Department of Justice? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it is. Right?
The Attorney General.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Department of Justice.
Right. He's in charge. So I'm just saying, I imagine there's quite a bit of leeway, and I think actually rooting this out means that you have to punish criminals.
Yeah.
So part of the thing that again, my point is a lot of conservatives are by nature we want to be gracious and kind and live and let live.
Right.
But if you do not punish criminals, then you're not defending.
That's right. What is good?
Law-abiding citizens.
Right.
At the Fight Laugh Feast conference in Fort Worth, Texas, Pastor Wilson gave a glorious talk in part, which the central point was discipline is inescapable.
Right.
You're always disciplining someone.
Yeah.
So if you're a teacher in a classroom and you're not disciplining the troublemakers, you're disciplining the good students.
Right.
And so you discipline the troublemakers because you want to defend the good students.
Right.
It's the same thing in Romans 13. It says that the magistrate is to punish the evildoers.
Yeah.
And if you're not an evildoer, you have nothing to fear.
That's right.
It's a peace and it's a comfort and it's a blessing to law-abiding citizens when criminals are punished.
Right.
And it seems to me that one of the biggest criminals, the biggest cave of criminals, is in Washington D.C. In these 3-letter agencies.
Yeah, that's right.
That are following innocent Americans around and
talk about Merrick Garland. He's punishing the good. He's disciplining the good in the pro-life community.
He sent our friends protesting the murder of unborn babies. He sent them to prison. And so he needs to go to prison. The basic the law of justice is eye for eye, tooth for tooth. You do unto those what they intended to do.
Right.
And Merrick Garland and his thugs, his cronies, should be punished. And I'm sure there's a whole bunch of others that alongside them. These are maybe just some of the most low-hanging fruit. Discover which cultural issues you need to know about as a Christian and seeker of truth by listening to the weekly podcast, Refining Rhetoric with Robert Bortons. Oh, Robert Bortons.
Yeah.
Hosted by Robert Bortons, CEO of the world's leading homeschool support organization and joined by a prominent expert, author, or thinker. Each episode of Refining Rhetoric explores what it means to seek out biblical truth in a culture permeated with subjective truths. Listen to Refining Rhetoric wherever you stream podcasts or learn more about the show by visiting classicalconversations.com/FLF. And Robert Bortons also used to play rugby.
Yeah. And actually, we have a word from Pete Hegseth about classical conversations.
What?
Too.
We do?
Yeah.
What?
Do.
I have my kids in classical Christian education because it's the education I wish I would have had. Yeah. And once you realize how vapid your progressive education really was, and you didn't even know it was progressive because it was so hidden, maybe even inside a conservative or a Christian community, you realize what you don't know later in life. And you desperately want that truth and goodness and beauty and wisdom and virtue for your kids. And our kids started out as young kids in public education. You look around and you start to realize they're not learning anything. There has to be something better out there. COVID accelerated it for a lot of people. But once I realized what classical Christian was, that it was everything I never had, it felt like a ticking clock in the back of my head. That every day that my kids aren't in a classical Christian school or in classical conversations, which I'm a huge fan of, is a day they're missing out on true education, which liberates their mind, introduces them to Christ, all of which are completely rejected elsewhere. So I've become a huge advocate for it, and I think it's the answer.
Of course, I agree.
Robert, of course, I agree.
So check out classicalconversations.com/FLF and check out their refining rhetoric.
All right.
You
got anything else?
Late breaking. This is from our assistant Banked. He says Gaetz has voted 70% against Biden policies. He's on the left of the right. That's cool. I hope
on the left of the right. Is he closer to the left? What do you mean the left of the right?
That's what he's saying.
Or is he to the right of the right?
That doesn't make any sense. He says 70% against Biden policies. That means 30% of the time he went along with Biden's policies. So that's, it's like.
And maybe Biden had one or two policies that I could vote for. I don't know.
What?
I don't know.
Anyways, I think we need to do a little bit more deep diving into Matt Gaetz, but I think the prayer ought to be that he's got this sort of Rottweiler spirit that says we've been abused by these lawmakers, and they need to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
And I will add that Matt did have a controversy from years ago. It was in, let me see my notes here. In 2020, DOJ began an investigation into Gaetz for an alleged relationship with a 17-year-old girl, but dropped it in 2023 due to lack of evidence. In 2021, the House Ethics Committee picked it up and is still an ongoing investigation. So that could also play into the McCarthy fight and all that stuff. My take on it, the problem is I just don't trust the Department of Justice, DOJ, doing this. So it could totally be a fully made up situation. Now the problem is politicians
they also get into trouble.
They do stuff like that, underage sex with 17-year-old.
Right.
And so, but I don't trust Gaetz and I don't trust Department of Justice, but I would, in this scenario, I would trust Gaetz more than Department of Justice and everything. So that also might be, probably a driver for him. Like I was unjustly charged with this. And how it all came about is he had a friend, some sort of connection friend in Florida that it really happened. He got found guilty and then they tried to tie Gaetz into it too.
Oh, really?
So that's how it all came about.
Interesting. Well, that's like, at the very least, we can, it's like, I feel like Trump is, I don't know. He's sort of this Cyrus character, maybe
Nebuchadnezzar.
Maybe
because sometimes he's a little insane.
Maybe Jehu, kind of sort of guy. But it's like that is like he's going to be riding in furiously to DC and chop off a bunch of heads and push Jezebel out the window. That kind of thing is like. I think. But he also then, becomes bad. I mean, he's an idolater. And so, but I think what we should be praying for is a lot of tear down a whole bunch of this woke progressive craziness and hopefully unleash a lot of freedom and a lot of free enterprise. Slash the taxes, slash the regulations, and
that the church would wake up and all this.
Yes, exactly.
That's it's like, okay, if we get whatever this economic freedom we might get, which is looking likely.
Yeah. I hope that we've gotten to. So you finish your thought.
Yeah, I would much if I had a choice between economic freedom and the church waking up every day.
Of course,
right?
Of course.
But it looks like we're going to get this opportunity. And so, how much more should we be fighting for this opportunity?
Right. And I hope that what we'll do is with the freedom, with a little bit of breathing room for a minute, without crazy people, putting drag queens everywhere around us.
You're so defensive.
Yeah, right.
Having to fight all these defensive battles.
But I hope with that little bit of freedom, we will be the church will wake up, and repent of sins, and get to work on building the kingdom. Actually, building schools and businesses, and maybe God will bless that and make it very, very difficult for them to come back.
Folks, tomorrow, stick around. Tomorrow, come live stream with us. It's actually going to be a little early, 5 minutes early.
5 minutes.
4:10. Not 4:15.
I'm sure everybody's going to have to adjust their clocks.
We got Anglican Calvin Robinson coming on. If you guys followed him from the UK, he'll be coming in actually in the studio tomorrow. So guys, make sure you.
He's actually in the States now. He actually lives.
He moved out of the UK. Yeah. All right. If you're single, get married. If you're married, have kids. If you have kids, go baptize them. Until next week, tomorrow. Love God with your whole heart, soul, mind, and strength. Love your neighbor yourself. Go fight, laugh, and feast. And maybe we'll rub a little Presbyterian off on Calvin Robinson.